Hello everyone, I'm the Gilded Gamer, and welcome to a tutorial from Mekanism. Now let's hop right into it. Mekanism is actually probably one of my more favorite mechanical mods, solely because they have easy ways to generate power for very cheap cost. Now, when you want to start off Mekanism, you can only actually create one source of power, and that's this. This is a heat generator. Now, a heat generator can create power by simply putting it over a source block of lava, as you can see here, but this is very slow. If you look at the top left corner, you can see that it's only generating 1 RF per tick. That's incredibly slow. Now, you can also create power by filling it in by putting in coal, charcoal, and lava. Now that's the electrolytic separators fill, this little power bar here is filling up. Now when you put them in, this area will start to fill up. Now we can move on to this, the metallurgic infuser. Now the metallurgic infuser is a very good tool to have. It is something you need for the basics. This is the second thing you'll probably build. Now, one thing the metallurgic infuser can do is you have this purple area to the left. That will fill up this bar here, and you can fill that up with redstone, coal, charcoal, or diamond dust, depending on what you need to make. Now, if they have stuff in there, you'll see a little empty thing here, and that would just get rid of whatever's in there. Now, moving on to this red area, that's where you put items such as iron ingots, osmium ingots, sometimes some other things you make in here to make them higher tier, so on and so forth. Left area here, that's where the item comes out, and that's in case if you don't have a generator and you want to use batteries. But that you don't really need to talk about, since I'll show you how to make the generators. Now, moving on, stuff you can make out of this will be basic circuits with redstone and osmium, enriched alloy, which is redstone and iron, enriched iron, which is coal and charcoal, where carbon and iron, and then steel dust, which still uses coal, charcoal, and the enriched iron to make the steel dust. Now, one little tip is, coal will only fill up 10 carbon, so you need 2 coal for 1 piece of steel. But if you use charcoal, that creates 20. So 1 charcoal equals 1 steel instead of 2 coal. So that's a little tip if you need that. Now moving on to the next thing you need to build, which is this, the electrolytic separator. Now this is a very important tool to have later down the road, but it is also very good to have very early on. Now, if we right click in here, you can see that it has a slot for water, and what this does, it separates water from hydrogen and oxygen, and H2O, 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen. So as you can see here, hydrogen is actually completely full, and that's a good thing, because when you click on tanks, you see you have hydrogen and oxygen, but if you want more oxygen, you don't need to make more tanks. What you can do is this little button here that says idle, dumping, which will get rid of all this stuff in here, or you can simply put dumping excess, which is everything here is saved, because when you hit dumping, it releases more than you have, than you can make. Now that I'm just doing dumping excess, this will fill to the brim. As you can see here, it's almost completely filled technically, but now this fills, so you can have more oxygen, so you can create more oxygen without having to waste hydrogen. Now to get it here, you can make these mechanical pipes, which is made like so, and this electric pump, which placed over a unlimited water source, I'm using the 2x2 method, will suck up water and pump it into the electrolytic separator. Very simple. Now moving on to ore process. Ore processing is very key to why I like this mod, I guess you can say. So because very easily and early on, if you put the mining into it, Using these 4 machines you can see here, you can create, well, you can get triple the ore from 1 ore block. So 3 ingots for 1 ore. Now, easiest and simplest thing is an energized smelter, as you can see here. Now, an energized smelter is just a electric powered furnace. You can use this for any of your smelting needs. It's nothing that special. Next is the enrichment chamber. And the enrichment chamber turns items such as redstone dust, or redstone into more redstone dust, and lapis into more lapis lazuli. Now, this is a very useful thing to have more than one of. Following is the crusher. Now, the crusher doesn't necessarily work like a pulverizer if you're Mine Factory loaded, or macerator for Industrial Craft 2. What a crusher does is it works on some ores, such as in this sequence, it turns an ore clump into dirty ore which moves down the line. Or it can also be used to make biofuel, which you can see I have up right here. Now, I'll get into biofuel later, but again, crushers don't really have that big of a purpose, I guess you can say. But again, you need them for this line of machines. Now, probably the hardest machine to get that'll take the longest is this, your purification chamber. Now, as you can see here, I have 3 gold clumps from. Let's actually grab a piece of gold ore. Now, one thing you need is oxygen, which you get from the electrolytic separator. And you can put it in here. I have upgrades in here to make this go faster, so don't expect yours to go this fast. Put it in, boop. Like I said, 3 gold clumps. Now you take that, put it in here, processing, you'll turn to gold, 30 gold ore, so on and so forth down the line until you get the ingots. Now, one thing about this is you need to power all of these. And Mekanism actually gives you a few different ways to power them. If we move outside, we have these 5 ways, which are the 5 I usually end up using. First off is this, the gas burning generator. Now, early on, you can use a gas burning generator and hydrogen, which I have here. Hydrogen fills up and it creates power. Early on, one thing you could do is you can hook this up to an electrolytic separator and get unlimited power. Sadly, as I found out before, that method has been fixed, and the electrolytic separator actually uses as much power as this makes, so you can have a self-sufficient electrolytic separator, but you can only get oxygen out of it because it uses all the hydrogen, so you actually don't get any excess hydrogen. So I'm not a big fan of this gas burning generator. But one thing we have is a wind turbine, which I like a lot. And wind turbine, how much power it generates matters on what level you put it on. Now right now I have it's generating 56 RF per tick. And if I put it in, such as, I'll just use up here for an example, it creates 62.55. So, it's a very interesting, and if you have a lot of, and these are very easy to make, as I'll put the recipe up again. And these are very easy to make, so you can actually make a lot of these in a line. And if your base is near like hills, as you can see here, you can just easily just line them up somewhere up high and have cables running down. Now, next is this little guy is a solar generator. This generates, 40 RF per tick, as long as the sun is out. Now, actually, there he is. So when it goes to night, it stops generating power, but you can sleep. This is great if you're on a single player server because you can sleep through it. But if you're not, then at night these become useless, basically. And another thing is the wind turbine, as long as it can go straight up and there's no blocks blocking it, since it's full, it's now red, but this should be green. Well, again, since this is full, this is red, this should be green, and it will generate power as long as nothing is blocking it upwards. Next up is the advanced solar generator. Now, this is a lot bigger, but it also creates a lot more power. Now, this actually, on the web, this actually creates 120 RF per tick, compared to this one's only 40. Now this creates 120 RF per tick, which is more powerful than the little solar generator. But this one also does take up more space and is a lot easier to use. Now, moving on to the last thing is the biofuel generator, which if you use biofuel combined with the crusher. Now, let me go back. To make this, you need biofuel, which biofuel is created by putting any organic resource inside the crusher. So that's wheat, seeds, potatoes, carrots, and even rotten flesh can be used to create biofuel. Now, after you put the biofuel into here, one piece of biofuel will create 280 RF, which that doesn't scale correctly, but it's fine, I guess. Now this creates 280 kilo RF for one piece of biofuel, which this little guy is the best, especially if an ample amount of zombies, which I like. But for this is good to kind of shock your system, I guess you can say, to just put some power in there. But for long-lasting power, I like using the windmills and the solar generators. Well, the advanced ones I like better because they actually create more. Well, yeah, that's actually about it for this getting started guide for now. We went over basics to get started, what you need, and some little tips you can have. Now, thank you all for watching. I've been the Gilded Gamer. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, and if you enjoy gaming content, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and have a good day.